Hi, welcome back to my decorating series. We're going to go inside and go to the 11th floor for a coat room. So we're kicking off the second half of this house by doing some more kind of public spaces. And part of the reason I wanted to pick the collection of rooms that will be on this floor is because they're all kind of rustic. And don't really do rustic that often. It's just not one of my favorite things to do as far as decorating aesthetics, but I don't dislike it. It's just I don't tend to choose it. So I knew I had some stuff that I wanted to use. I knew I wanted to try something different. And I have an idea list of rooms to do in this house. And I knew I had enough rustic kind of rooms to make a whole floor out of it. So here we are, starting with a coat room. I originally put this on my idea list after I had already started decorating, because anytime I have a new idea, I just add it to the list. And if it gets into a build somewhere, then great. If not, that's fine. It's just ideas. But I didn't know where I would end up putting a coat room. And actually, at the time, it was a cloak room, because it wasn't on the first floor, and a coat room really feels like it needs to be on an entry-level space. So this worked out for multiple reasons, besides having a lot of rustic rooms to build, but also like answering the problem of where would I put a coat room if it's not on the first floor. So it also gave me an excuse to use these beams. I love these new beams from the Sleeping Beauty stuff in the Storybook Vale. They allow to really make a room, allow me the freedom to make a room not feel quite so much like just a square or a rectangle. And I know they're not the only object like that, but they do, like when you line a bunch of them up, they really do look like a wall. You just can't treat them like a wall because you can't hang art on them. You can't use like the windows or the curtains that won't be in the middle of the room. Like there's some that you have to put them on the wall. So that's the only real drawback, but that's true for any object you would choose because nothing else is really a wall in this game. The other thing I got to mess with was the ceiling. That's from our most recent update, and it was fun getting to put a different texture ceiling. I've been wanting to do that in other rooms, so it's one of the things I'm looking forward to when I finally do go back and kind of maybe revamp some spaces, is getting to change the ceilings in those other rooms, because it really can make a big difference, even if it's not really noticeable from every angle. The one thing I will say is that these new banners really do complement the beams as being used as walls, because it gives the impression that something is hung from them, because those banners can be suspended anywhere from the ceiling. So although they're not, there's not a ton of variety there, at least we have something that kind of can mimic a wall hanging from something that's not a wall, So here I am trying to break up the back end. The front end was more about just a couple of doors and a couple of kind of closet type things, but I didn't want to repeat that in the back. So instead of doing two little closets on the side, I decided to make half of it a little kind of sitting area, which allowed me to use some of this other rustic furniture. The thing I keep running into as I scroll through the list to see what can fit in this space and in the room in general is that there are things that I definitely want to use in other rooms on this floor. So although I audition quite a bit, the space is not big, and there are things I know I want to do in the other rooms that are coming up. So here I am just trying to figure out exactly how the banners look in here, how I want them to be laid out. I do keep going down and looking around because it's kind of hard to see because the beams take up so much space. Even when you're walking around down low, it's hard to see. Oh, and here we're running into our trouble. I'm trying to find something to fit in this sitting area, and this thing is cool looking, but once I put it down, I can't get it back out. And I end up taking all kinds of stuff out, trying to move stuff around and see if I can get the right angle to remove this wall piece. and I can't get it out. I actually go to Scrooge's shop a second time, partially because I need stuff, but also seeing if like leaving and coming back resets the space, and it doesn't, so I have to strip the room, which is okay. This room is not super complicated. Most of the time I spent, as I usually do, is based on the decision making and just auditioning stuff, but recreating the builds does not take terribly long, so I didn't cut it out just because it's not terribly difficult to recreate, and in all honesty, you might run into this problem yourself. So knowing that if you've made the decisions, you know, that you're happy with, it doesn't have to take forever to recreate it if you run into a problem like that. It's frustrating, sure, but, you know, it's survivable, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. So here we are, just making sure all of the layout is right. I needed all, and the reason I needed to go to Scrooge's shop was because I needed more coat hangers. But luckily, I think the other thing is that this room isn't terribly decorated. It's mostly just structural elements, and I hadn't actually finalized the decorating yet. So it sucks about that wall piece, though. It's a really cool wall piece. But at least now I'm aware that it has a problem, at least at this moment in time. So just roll with it and do the best you can. So yeah, here we start auditioning some stuff that I'm like, ooh, I'm going to want some of this stuff in other rooms. So I put it down and then I immediately take it back out. But I did need some lighting, and I did need to fill up some of that wall space around the seating area because it does look really empty without stuff. And I ended up using the Haunted Mansion paintings because even though they're not really rustic, they just kind of have the right vibe for me in this space. I might be alone in that, but I really like how they look in this little nook. And I really don't like making rooms without windows frequently. I do that, but I tested some windows out and they didn't really work for me, and that's okay because those are little closets, right? They're not really meant to be highly decorated spaces, so it's okay. Just that's why we audition, right? And oh yeah, a couple little carpets in here, just trying to make it a little less, I don't know, hard feeling. Like carpets tend to soften a space a little bit just because you can imagine like the textural difference would be nice. So it didn't really need a ton in here. Again, this is not really meant to be a highly decorated area, but I didn't want it to be devoid of decoration. So just trying to find anything last minute that can fit. Oh, I'm looking for a light. I'm looking for a light for this space because I wanted it to have something. And oh, there it is. That's the one I chose. And because I'm not going to go with a light on the table, I decided the table needed a snack. So I'm just trying to find the right snack. There it was. Roasted almonds. Nothing else looked good. So there we go. All right, well, let's go inside and check it out. It's wonderful to be starting on the second half of this house. I know I haven't done every single room for a video because I've had some storage rooms, but technically we are now officially halfway through. And I really like how this turned out. Like, the difference in the textures of the wood and the color tones are a little bothersome, but this is so different than my normal decorating style. And what are you gonna do for a coat room, you know? Like, I could have just lined two narrow walls and made a hallway almost out of it, but I didn't want to just leave it super simple. So I'm glad I got to mess with the beams. I'm glad I got to use some of the walls and floors that I really don't use in other places. I love this little sitting area, the paintings on the wall, the almonds on the table, the wooden furniture. Like, I don't know, even though it's made out of wood, it still looks really cozy and inviting. And honestly, here in a second we're gonna see it, but you know, the lighting in here is functional enough. I like that the Flynn Rider doors are lit. I think that's really cute. But the look through this doorway at this sitting area with the lights at night, I love it. I just love it. I put that light down and I was just like, I bet this is gonna like have this cute little frame effect from that side of the room, and I was not wrong. So apart from the problems I ran into having to strip it and start again, the trickiness of trying to make these beams look and feel more like walls. You know, I think I'm really happy with how this room ended up, and it's a great entry point to the rest of the rooms that are going to be on this floor. So I'm looking forward to something a little different and to get started on the second half of the house. That's it for today's decorating adventure. If you liked this video, a thumbs up is a great way to let me know, and a subscription will keep you up to date on my latest shenanigans. If you want to hang out with me live, I stream on YouTube and Twitch on Thursday evenings and middays on Sunday. I hope you have a lovely day, night, time, wherever you are, whenever you are. And I'll see you next time.